Have you ever stopped to think about the invisible rules that run your life? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something you use constantly, probably without even noticing it: logic. I'm going to show you the hidden code that secretly guides everything, from your school day all the way to your Google searches.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll see how logic is pretty much everywhere. Then, we'll crack open some basic school rules to find their logical core. After that, we'll look at how promises are really just logical deals. Use what-if scenarios to plan for the future, and finally, I'll show you a little trick to make you a search engine wizard.
All right, let's kick things off with a big idea. You know, when you hear the word logic, your mind probably jumps to, I don't know, a philosophy class or maybe some super complex computer code. But it's actually way closer to home than that.
Seriously? What if I told you you're already a logician? That you use these formal, structured rules to make decisions and figure things out every single day? And that's really the heart of it. Logic isn't some dusty academic thing. It's like the basic operating system for how we make sense of the world. And once you learn to spot the patterns, trust me, you'll start seeing them absolutely everywhere.
So let's make this real. We're going to start with something we all know pretty well, the school rulebook. Because it turns out that thing is basically a logic textbook in disguise.
Look at these. They're all built on this if-then structure. Logicians call this a conditional. If this one thing happens, then this other thing is the consequence. But sometimes it gets even more specific. Check out that last one. If you bring a phone to class and it rings, both things have to be true for the teacher to take it. See? You're already dealing with these kinds of logical statements all the time.
Okay, but here's a super important catch. Just because a rule works one way doesn't mean it works in reverse. The rule says, if you're late 3 times, then you get detention. But what about the other way around? If you get detention, then you were late 3 times. Is that always true? Of course not. You could get detention for a million other things. It shows that logic is often a one-way street.
And this whole if-then thing isn't just about rules somebody else made up. It's the exact same logic behind the agreements and promises you make yourself.
Ah, a classic. We've all been there. The if part is simple. Finish the homework. Once you meet that condition, the then part, playing video games, should follow. You've held up your end of the bargain, so you have a totally logical argument for getting the reward.
But hang on, what if you don't finish your homework? Does the rule automatically mean you can't play? Well, not exactly. The promise only tells you what happens if you do finish. It says nothing about what happens if you don't. Maybe you can still play for some other reason. Assuming you can't is a super common logical mistake.
Okay, so logic helps us get rules and promises, but where it gets really powerful is when we use it to map out the future by just asking, what if? This is a perfect example of how we can link these if-then statements together like dominoes. So step 1, if it rains, then we go to the museum. Got it? Step 2, if we go to the museum, then we need lunch money. So by connecting those dots, we can create a new logical shortcut. If it rains, then we need lunch money. It's a fantastic tool for planning ahead.
All right, your turn. Let's see if you've got this. Here are the rules. So, what's the ultimate conclusion if the power goes out? Let's trace the chain. Power goes out, which means the internet goes down. Internet's down, so you can't submit your homework online. And if you can't do that, you have to, you got it, print it. So the logical conclusion is, if the power goes out, then you need to print your homework.
Now, for the last part, I want to show you how this formal logic is actually the engine behind one of the most powerful tools you use every single day: Google.
This is called Boolean logic, and it's built on these simple ideas. Using AND tells Google you need results with both words, super useful for narrowing things down. OR is the opposite. It broadens your search to find pages with either word. And my personal favorite, NOT, which you can just use a minus sign for, lets you kick out stuff you don't want. Searching for the animal jaguar but not the car? Easy. This is a game changer.
So, you see, the big secret is you are already doing this. You follow rules, you make deals, you plan for what's next. All we did today was put some names to the patterns that you already intuitively understand.
So I'll leave you with a challenge. Now that you know how to spot this if-then code, what other hidden systems can you start to decode? Think about traffic laws, or even the rules in your favorite video game. What's the hidden logic that's really running your world? Thanks for digging into this with me.